Hello and welcome to this quiet corner of the world. I am so glad you've found your way here tonight. Before we begin our journey through the hidden wonders of our planet, take a moment to settle in. Adjust your pillows, pull the blankets close, and let the weight of the day begin to lift. If these calm explorations of our reality help you find peace, please consider subscribing to join our community of night travelers. Your support is a gentle light that keeps these stories alive, and I am truly grateful to have you with us. Now, let me invite you to let go of the world outside. Close your eyes and breathe. Feel the air moving slowly in and out, a rhythmic tide that belongs only to you. As you relax, imagine the walls of your room fading away, replaced by the soft, velvet canopy of a clear night sky. We are not going far, yet we are going everywhere. We are turning our gaze toward the very ground beneath us, the air around us, and the life that hums in the silence. Earth is often described as a restless place, but beneath the noise of civilization, there is a profound, ancient stillness. It is a world governed by rhythms that have persisted for eons, the slow stretch of a root, the pulse of a tide, the silent drift of a cloud. Tonight, we will explore the facts of life that are not loud or demanding, but gentle and reassuring. We will look at the miracles of biology and the persistence of nature, things that remind us that we are part of something vast, resilient, and beautiful. As we drift together, let your mind become like a calm lake, reflecting the stars above. There is no need to overthink, no need to memorize, and certainly no need to rush. We are simply observers in a grand, quiet gallery of life. From the microscopic survivors in the soil to the giants of the deep ocean, everything is exactly where it needs to be. You, too, are exactly where you need to be. The universe is holding its breath for you, inviting you to rest, to wonder, and to finally let sleep take hold as we begin our cosmic journey through the living wonders of our home. Chapter 1. Mercury, the silent, scorched messenger. The sun, our great, life-giving anchor, is a titan of light and heat. As we move away from its golden corona, the very first world we encounter is Mercury. It is a small, rocky sphere, barely larger than our moon, huddled close to the sun's intense radiance. Here, at the inner edge of the solar system, we find a place of profound silence and staggering extremes. Imagine yourself drifting above the surface of this iron-hearted world. There is no air here to carry a breeze, no atmosphere to scatter the sunlight into a blue sky. Instead, the sky is a permanent, velvet black, even when the sun hangs enormous and white above the horizon. The sun appears 3 times larger here than it does from Earth, a colossal eye watching over a desolate, cratered landscape. Because there is no atmosphere to trap heat or distribute energy, Mercury exists in a state of constant, dramatic tension. The side facing the sun is bathed in a furnace-like heat, with temperatures soaring to nearly 800 degrees Fahrenheit. The rocks themselves seem to glow with the intensity of the solar wind. Yet, if you were to step into the long, jagged shadows of a crater, the temperature would plummet instantly. On the night side, far from the sun's touch, Mercury becomes a realm of deep frost, dropping to nearly 300 degrees below zero. It is a world of fire and ice, existing side by side in a rhythmic, slow-motion dance. As you float over the Caloris Basin, one of the largest impact features in the entire solar system, you see a vast plain of ancient lava, ringed by mountains that rise like sleeping giants. The surface is scarred with countless craters, each one a memory of a cosmic collision from billions of years ago. These scars have never faded, for there is no rain to wash them away, and no wind to smooth their edges. Mercury is a museum of the early solar system, a silent witness to the violent birth of our celestial neighborhood. Despite its proximity to the solar furnace, Mercury holds a secret in its darkest corners. In the deep craters at the poles, where the sun's rays never reach, there are deposits of water ice. This ice has sat in the shadows for eons, shielded from the sun by the high walls of stone. It is a quiet irony, the closest planet to the sun harboring frozen water in its heart. The motion of Mercury is just as peculiar as its landscape. It zips around the sun in a mere 88 Earth days, but it rotates on its axis so slowly that a single day from one sunrise to the next lasts about 176 Earth days. This means that if you were standing on its surface, the sun would rise, crawl across the black sky, and then appear to stop, move backward for a short time, and then continue its journey before finally setting. It is a world where time feels elastic, stretching out in a long, sun-drenched slumber. Beneath the surface lies a massive iron core, much larger than scientists originally expected. This core makes up most of the planet's volume, acting like a giant, solid heart beating within a thin shell of rock. This heavy core generates a weak magnetic field, a ghostly echo of the powerful shield that protects our own Earth. It is enough to catch a few stray particles from the sun, creating a thin, temporary atmosphere called an exosphere, a veil of atoms that drifts and fades like a dream. As we linger here, the silence of Mercury begins to feel like a heavy, comforting blanket. There is a peacefulness in its desolation, a sense of enduring strength in its ability to withstand the sun's relentless gaze. The shadows are long and cool, and the craters tell stories of a time when the universe was young and chaotic. But now, all is still. The scorched rocks are cooling in the long shadow of the night side, and the ice in the polar craters remains undisturbed, hidden away in the dark. Take one last look at this small, resilient messenger. It is a world of grey stone and golden light, a solitary wanderer in the sun's backyard. The heat is fading now as we drift further back, the enormous sun shrinking slightly in our vision. The silence of Mercury stays with us, but the air is beginning to change. We are leaving the realm of scorched iron and moving toward a world veiled in mystery and thick, golden clouds. Gently, we turn our gaze away from the grey plains and begin our drift through the void once more, drawn toward the brilliant, shimmering light of our next destination. Mercury fades into a bright speck behind us, and the heavy, warm embrace of the morning star begins to beckon. Mercury has shown us the beauty of the void. Now, let us see what lies beneath the clouds of the most brilliant planet in our sky. Chapter 2. Venus, the veiled morning star. We leave behind the airless, cratered silence of Mercury and drift outward, deeper into the sun's golden influence. Ahead of us, a brilliant, unwavering light grows larger, outshining every star in the sky. This is Venus. Often called Earth's twin because of its similar size and gravity, Venus is a world that chose a vastly different path. As we approach, we don't see a rocky surface or deep craters. Instead, we are met by a seamless, impenetrable veil of thick, pale yellow clouds. These clouds never part. They wrap the entire planet in a permanent, heavy embrace, hiding a landscape of mystery and incredible power beneath their soft-looking exterior. Imagine yourself sinking slowly into these clouds. They are not like the cool, watery mists of Earth. These are clouds of sulfuric acid, swirling in a high-altitude dance driven by winds that move faster than any hurricane we have ever known. Yet, in our journey, these winds do not feel violent. They feel like a rhythmic, oceanic tide, a vast movement of energy that circles the planet every few days. As we descend deeper through the haze, the sunlight loses its harsh white sting and transforms into a dim, orange-gold glow. The atmosphere becomes thicker, pressing against you with a weight that feels like being deep beneath a warm, sunlit sea. On the surface of Venus, the air is so dense that it behaves more like a fluid than a gas. If you were to walk through it, it would feel as though you were wading through a heavy, warm syrup. This density is the result of a runaway greenhouse effect, a cosmic lesson in the power of an atmosphere. The thick carbon dioxide has trapped the sun's heat for billions of years, creating a world where the temperature is a constant, unyielding 900 degrees Fahrenheit, day or night, from the poles to the equator. It is a world that has mastered the art of holding on to warmth, a place where the concept of cold has been entirely forgotten. As we reach the ground, the landscape reveals itself in shades of copper and charcoal. The ground is made of ancient volcanic rock, smoothed by the immense pressure of the air. Great plains stretch out toward the horizon, interrupted by shield volcanoes that rise slowly like the backs of gargantuan whales. Some of these volcanoes may still be awake, exhaling whispers of gas into the heavy air, adding to the eternal shroud above. There are no oceans here, no lakes, and no rain at least, not the kind we know. On Venus, it may rain sulfuric acid in the upper atmosphere, but the heat is so intense that the droplets evaporate long before they ever touch the scorching ground. There is a strange, heavy peace on the surface of Venus. Because the atmosphere is so thick, there is very little wind at the ground level. The air is almost perfectly still, a stagnant, glowing heat that feels eternal. The light is diffused, casting no sharp shadows, creating a dreamlike environment where every rock and ridge is bathed in a soft, monochromatic amber radiance. It is a world of incredible consistency, a place where time seems to have slowed down to a crawl. Venus also holds the distinction of being one of the most leisurely rotators in the solar system. It spins so slowly that its day is actually longer than its year. It takes about 243 Earth days to complete a single rotation on its axis, while it orbits the Sun in only 225 days. More curiously, Venus spins backward compared to most other planets. If you could see the Sun through the thick clouds, it would rise in the west and set in the east, moving with such agonizing slowness that you could almost forget it was moving at all. This retrograde motion is a ghost of a distant past, perhaps the result of a massive collision billions of years ago that flipped the planet's spin, leaving it to turn in its own unique, lonely direction. Despite its harsh conditions, there is a haunting beauty to Venus. It is a world of endurance. It has taken the raw energy of the sun and woven it into a thick, golden tapestry that protects its secrets from the rest of the universe. Scientists often wonder if Venus was once more like Earth, with liquid oceans and blue skies, before the heat took hold and changed its fate forever. As we drift through the amber twilight of its surface, we can almost imagine the ghost of that cooler world hidden somewhere in the vibration of the rocks. The pressure here is immense, equivalent to being 3,000 feet under the Earth's ocean. It is a crushing, stabilizing force that anchors everything in place. There is no volatility here, only the steady, unmoving weight of the air. In this stillness, we find a different kind of relaxation, not the airy lightness of Mercury, but a deep, grounded presence. It is the feeling of being completely enveloped, held in a warm, glowing amber chamber, where the outside universe feels millions of miles away. As we begin to rise back up through the layers of the atmosphere, leaving the heavy plains behind, we pass through the different tiers of the Venusian clouds. High up, where the air is thinner and cooler, the environment is surprisingly temperate. Some believe that in these high-altitude mists, microscopic life could potentially drift, existing in the only comfortable layer of an otherwise forbidding world. It is a thought that adds a layer of wonder to the golden haze, the idea that even in the most extreme environments, life finds a way to dream. The orange glow begins to brighten as we reach the upper limits of the clouds. The sun's light becomes more distinct, a pale disk struggling to pierce the veil. We break through the top of the atmosphere, leaving the golden shroud beneath us. From here, Venus, looks like a perfect, polished pearl, reflecting the sun's light with a brilliance that makes it the most beautiful object in the morning sky. It is a world of hidden depths, a planet that reminds us that there is often more than meets the eye beneath a calm surface. As we move away from the glowing pearl of Venus, the warmth of its greenhouse embrace begins to fade, replaced by the familiar, cool darkness of the void. But we are not drifting into the unknown. Ahead of us, a new color begins to emerge from the blackness, a vibrant, swirling sapphire blue, marbled with streaks of brilliant white and the rich greens of forests. We are moving toward a place of perfect balance, a sanctuary of liquid water and breathable air. The heavy, amber stillness of Venus has prepared our minds for a different kind of peace. We are leaving the world of extremes and moving toward the world of life. As the blue jewel grows larger in our field of vision, we feel a sense of coming home. The journey through the golden clouds was a dream of heat and pressure, but now, the cool, refreshing breath of our own world begins to beckon. We drift onward, leaving the veiled morning star behind, transitioning from the mysterious golden haze toward the bright, living heartbeat of the third stone from the sun. Chapter 3. Wanderers of the Vacuum. As we depart from the sheltered, damp warmth of the forest floor, we begin to descend into a world that exists in the spaces between spaces. We are shrinking our perspective now, moving past the visible veins of the leaves and the silver threads of the mycelium, down into a single, microscopic bead of morning dew clinging to a patch of moss. Here, in this translucent sphere of water, we encounter a creature that challenges our very understanding of what it means to be alive. They are the tardigrades, the water bears, the tiny, eight-legged voyagers who have mastered the art of biological endurance. To the naked eye, they are invisible, yet they are everywhere. They are in the highest mountain peaks and the deepest ocean trenches. They are in the scorching sands of the desert and the frozen heart of the Antarctic. They are the ultimate survivors, tiny pioneers of the extreme. But their most incredible feat is not just where they live, but how they survive the impossible. When the world becomes too harsh, when the water dries up or the temperature drops to the absolute zero of the void, the tardigrade does something that feels less like biology and more like a cosmic ritual. It enters a state known as ton. Imagine a life that can simply press pause. In this state, the water bear sheds almost all the moisture from its body, curling into a dry, indestructible husk. Its metabolism slows to a point that is indistinguishable from death. It becomes a stone, a grain of dust, waiting in the silence. It can remain in this suspended animation for years, decades, or perhaps even longer, drifting through time as a passenger on the winds of change. It is a master of patience, a creature that has learned that sometimes the only way to survive the storm is to become the storm's shadow. But the most breathtaking secret of the tardigrade was discovered when we took them away from the Earth entirely. We placed these tiny wanderers into the airless, frozen vacuum of outer space, a place where the radiation is lethal and the pressure is non-existent. Any other life form would have perished in seconds. But the water bears simply waited. Exposed to the raw, unshielded glare of the sun and the biting cold of the cosmic void, they remained in their ton state, untroubled by the emptiness. When they were brought back to Earth and touched by a single drop of water, they uncurled, stretched their 8 tiny legs, and continued their lives as if the vacuum of space had been nothing more than a quiet afternoon nap. As you lie here, safe and warm, let the resilience of the water bear settle into your consciousness. It is a reminder that life is far tougher than we often give it credit for. There is a core within us, and within all living things, that is built to endure. The tardigrade doesn't fight the environment. It adapts its very state of being to match it. When the world is dry, it becomes dry. When the world is frozen, it accepts the cold. It is a profound lesson in the power of yielding. By not resisting the inevitable shifts of the universe, the water bear finds a way to outlast them. Think of the vast distances these creatures have traveled, perhaps hitchhiking on a piece of rock ejected from a planet, or drifting in the high atmosphere. They are the true citizens of the cosmos. They remind us that the boundaries we draw between Earth and space are perhaps more fluid than we imagine. Life is not a fragile accident clinging to a rock. It is a persistent force, a cosmic constant that finds a way to bloom in the most unlikely of places. Visualize the microscopic landscape of that single water drop. It is a vast ocean to the tardigrade, filled with strange peaks of moss and valleys of silt. In this world, time moves differently. A day is an age. A season is an eternity. And yet, there is no hurry. The water bear moves with a slow, deliberate gait, searching for the moss it calls home. Its life is simple, yet its mechanics are a marvel of biological engineering. It possesses a protein that acts like a protective shield for its DNA, a celestial armor that prevents the rays of the stars from tearing its genetic code apart. This protection is a gift from billions of years of evolution. It is as if the universe itself wanted to ensure that life had a witness even in the most desolate reaches of the void. As you breathe, feel that same protective energy within yourself. Your body is a vessel of ancient wisdom, a collection of trillions of cells that know exactly how to maintain the flame of life. You are made of the same resilient stuff as the water bear, forged in the same creative fires that allow a microscopic creature to survive the stars. The stillness of the tardigrade in its tun state is a reflection of the deep sleep we seek tonight. It is a state where the worries of the outside world cannot penetrate. In the tun, there is no hunger, no thirst, no fear. There is only the potential for life, tucked away in a safe, quiet corner of existence. You can allow your mind to enter its own version of this state, a place of total rest, where you are invulnerable to the stresses and demands of your waking life. Here, you are just a spark of consciousness, cradled in the soft dark of the night. The existence of these creatures suggests that life may be scattered throughout the galaxy, sleeping on icy moons or drifting in the dust of nebulae, just waiting for the right conditions to wake up. It is a comforting thought that the universe is not a cold, dead house, but a nursery filled with sleeping giants and tiny wonders. We are never truly alone in the dark. The tardigrade is a silent companion, a reminder that resilience is woven into the very fabric of reality. In the microscopic silence, there is a music that we cannot hear, the music of atoms and molecules arranging themselves into the patterns of life. The water bear is a master of this music. It knows when to sing and when to be silent. It knows that the sun will eventually return, that the rain will eventually fall, and that its patience will be rewarded. This trust in the cycles of the world is what allows it to endure the impossible. As we drift with the water bear, we see that size is no measure of significance. A creature the size of a dust mote can hold the secrets of immortality and space travel. It challenges our human ego, reminding us that we are part of a vast spectrum of life, each piece as important as the last. Whether we are a galaxy, a human, or a tardigrade, we are all governed by the same cosmic laws, all made of the same stardust, all searching for a place to belong. Consider the silence of the vacuum where the water bear once drifted. It is a silence so profound, it would be terrifying if we were not so well equipped to handle it. The tardigrade wasn't afraid because it had surrendered its need for control. It let the void be the void. Tonight, you can let the silence of your room be your own personal void, a space of peace, not of emptiness. A space where you can let go of your identity and your burdens and simply exist as a presence in the dark. The water bear is a bridge between the world of the living and the world of the inanimate. In its dried state, it is essentially a mineral, yet the spark of life remains hidden within. It is a reminder that life is a persistent vibration, a frequency that can be lowered but never truly extinguished. This vibration is in you, too. It is the steady hum of your heart, the slow ebb and flow of your breath, the quiet electrical storms in your brain as you begin to dream. As the water bear waits for the moisture to return, we wait for the morning. But in this waiting, there is no anxiety. There is only the peaceful assurance that the world will continue to turn. The tardigrade has seen the sun rise and set for 500 million years. It has outlived the dinosaurs and the mammoths. It has watched the continents drift and the mountains rise. Its perspective is one of immense, quiet duration. We can borrow that perspective for a moment. In the grand timeline of the tardigrade, our daily worries are less than a flicker of light. The missed deadline, the awkward conversation, the flickering doubt, these are but shadows passing over the surface of a deep, ancient lake. Beneath the surface, the water is still, the life is safe. The core is untouched. As the image of the eight-legged wanderer begins to fade into the soft, velvet fog of your mind, you feel a sense of profound durability. You are built to last. You are designed to weather the seasons of your life with grace. The tiny water bear, drifting in its mossy drop or out among the stars, is a symbol of your own inner strength. But the tardigrade's journey is only possible because of the environment that cradles it. As we expand our gaze once more, leaving the microscopic drop and looking up at the vast blue sky above the forest, we realize that the very air we breathe, the oxygen that gives us life, and the water bears their vigor, has its own dramatic and unexpected history. The oxygen that feels so natural to us now was once a radical change, a transformation of the entire planet that paved the way for everything we see today. To understand our place in the cosmos, we must look back to a time when the atmosphere itself was a different kind of void, and life had to undergo its most breathtaking transformation yet to breathe the world into being. We move now from the microscopic traveler to the global breath, drifting away from the moss and into the swirling, ancient currents of the atmosphere, where the story of life's greatest gamble is waiting to be told. Chapter 4. Mars, the rust-colored desert. The sapphire glow of Earth has now receded into a small, comforting point of light, a distant reminder of the living world we left behind. We are drifting through the thinning warmth of the sun's influence, moving toward a silhouette that glows with a faint, steady ember light. This is Mars. Known for centuries as the harbinger of war due to its blood-red hue, up close, it reveals a much more peaceful character. It is not a world of fire, but a world of iron and ancient memories, a quiet, frozen desert that seems to be waiting for something to wake it from its long, cold slumber. As we begin our approach, the first thing you notice is the thinness of the air. Mars has an atmosphere, but it is a ghost of what we find on Earth. It is composed mostly of carbon dioxide, stretched so thin that the sky above the horizon doesn't turn blue. Instead, it takes on a soft butterscotch or pinkish tint during the day, turning a surprising, ethereal blue only when the sun begins to set. Imagine yourself floating just above the surface, where the gravity is only about 1/3 of what you are used to. You feel light, almost buoyant, as you drift over the vast, rolling plains of the northern hemisphere. The red color that defines this world is not from heat, but from rust. The surface of Mars is rich in iron oxide, the same material that forms on an old piece of metal left out in the rain. Here, on a planetary scale, the dust of Mars has oxidized over billions of years, creating a landscape that looks like a masterpiece painted in shades of ochre, sienna, and crimson. This dust is incredibly fine, like talcum powder. and it covers everything. It hitches a ride on the thin Martian winds, settling into every crack and crevasse, coating the ancient boulders and filling the vast impact craters. We drift now toward one of the most magnificent sights in the solar system, Valles Marineris. This is a canyon system that makes the Grand Canyon on Earth look like a mere crack in the sidewalk. It stretches across the Martian equator for over 2,000 miles, as long as the entire United States is wide. As we glide into its depths, the walls rise miles above us, layered with the history of the planet's geological past. In the shadow of these towering cliffs, the air is still and cold. You can see the remnants of ancient landslides and the channels where water might have once roared billions of years ago. There is a profound, echoing silence here, a stillness that has lasted for epochs. In the distance, rising above the horizon like a god of the ancient world, stands Olympus Mons. It is the largest volcano in the solar system, a shield volcano so massive that its base would cover the entire state of Arizona. Its peak pokes out above the thickest parts of the atmosphere, reaching nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest. But there is no smoke here, no flowing lava. Olympus Mons is a silent giant, a monument to a time when the interior of Mars was vibrant and restless. Now, it sits in a state of eternal repose, its slopes covered in a fine layer of red frost. As we move across the landscape, we find the polar caps, the bright, white crowns of the planet. These are not just made of water ice, but of dry ice. Frozen carbon dioxide. During the Martian winter, the atmosphere actually freezes out of the sky and settles onto the poles, causing the caps to grow and shrink with the seasons. It is a slow, rhythmic breathing of the planet, a cycle of freezing and sublimation that moves the thin air from one pole to the other. In these regions, the red desert meets the brilliant white frost, creating a high-contrast world of stark, cold beauty. Despite its current desolation, Mars is a world haunted by the ghost of water. Everywhere we look, we see evidence of a wetter, warmer past. There are dried-up riverbeds that meander across the plains, ancient lake beds filled with sedimentary ripples, and deltas where water once deposited silt into vast northern oceans. Beneath the surface, hidden in the pores of the rocks and the depths of the permafrost, the water remains frozen and waiting. It is this hidden potential that makes Mars feel less like a dead world and more like one that is merely hibernating, holding its breath until the cosmic seasons change once more. The winds of Mars are a gentle presence in our journey. While they can occasionally whip up into global dust storms that shroud the entire planet for months, most of the time they are subtle. They create tiny dust devils wispy, spinning towers of red sand that dance across the plains like ghosts. These winds are too thin to knock you over, but they are strong enough to play music on the rocks, a low, haunting whistle that is the only sound in the Martian night. As the sun sets over the rim of a crater, casting that strange blue twilight across the red sands, the temperature drops rapidly. The heat of the day, such as it is, escapes instantly into the thin air. The stars begin to appear brighter and steadier than they ever look through Earth's thick atmosphere. From the surface of Mars, Earth appears as a brilliant blue star, a morning star or evening star, just as Venus appears to us. It is a poignant sight, a reminder of the oceans and forests we left behind, viewed from the porch of a dusty, red neighbor. There is a unique kind of loneliness on Mars, but it is not a sad one. It is the loneliness of a pioneer or a dreamer. It is a place that invites us to look closer, to dig deeper, and to wonder about the life that might have once been, or the life that might one day arrive. The silence here is a canvas, and the red dust is the ink. As we drift through the long Martian night, feeling the lightness of the gravity and the stillness of the air, our minds find a deep, contemplative rest. The frantic pace of Earth feels like a distant memory, replaced by the slow, geological time of the red planet. As we linger above the vast, silent plains of Utopia Planitia, we begin to feel the pull of the outer solar system. Mars is the last of the rocky, terrestrial worlds, the small, solid islands in the Sun's inner sea. Beyond Mars lies a vast, empty expanse filled with millions of fragments of rock and metal, the asteroid belt. And beyond that, the true giants of our system await. We begin to rise, leaving the red horizon of Mars behind. The butterscotch sky fades back into the deep, crystalline black of space. The dust of Mars settles back onto its ancient plains, and the silence of the canyons remains undisturbed. We have spent our time among the stones and the rust, and now our journey takes a turn toward the majestic and the ethereal. The inner solar system is closing its gates behind us. Ahead lies a frontier of unimaginable scale. The small, solid ground we have known is about to give way to worlds made of swirling clouds, liquid metallic hearts, and rings of shattered ice. We are moving toward the realm of the gas giants, where the gravity is crushing and the storms are large enough to swallow Earth whole. As the red spark of Mars joins the blue spark of Earth in the distance, we feel a shift in the cosmic energy. The journey is becoming grander, the scale more vast. The transition from the small, red desert toward the king of the planets is a transition into a deeper level of awe. We drift forward, crossing the invisible boundary of the inner system, as the first bands of a colossal, swirling, striped world begin to emerge from the darkness. Jupiter, the great protector and the king of the heavens, is waiting to welcome us into its massive, gaseous embrace. Chapter 5. Jupiter, the sovereign of the swirling deep. The red dust of Mars and its silent, narrow canyons have finally dissolved into the infinite black. Behind us, the four rocky worlds, the inner circle of our solar family, have shrunk into mere sparks, tiny lanterns flickering in the dark. We are now crossing the Great Divide, drifting past the scattered fragments of the asteroid belt, moving into a realm where the scale of existence shifts fundamentally. Ahead, the darkness begins to yield to a presence so immense, so gravity-heavy, that you can feel its pull in your very soul. We are entering the domain of the gas giants, and looming before us, in its striped, regal glory, is Jupiter. Jupiter is not a world you can walk upon. It has no solid ground, no mountains to climb, no valleys to shelter in. It is a world of pure atmosphere, a colossal sphere of hydrogen and helium that has more in common with a star than with the rocky planets we have visited. As we drift closer, the sheer scale of the planet begins to overwhelm the senses. Jupiter is so large that 11 Earths could sit side by side across its equator. It is so massive that it contains more than twice the material of all the other planets in the solar system combined. It is the king of the heavens, the great protector whose gravity has shielded the inner worlds from wandering comets for billions of years. Imagine yourself floating at the very edge of Jupiter's outer atmosphere. The light here is different, softer, more diffused, as the sun is now over 400 million miles away. Below you, the planet is divided into majestic horizontal bands of color, creamy whites, warm tans, deep ochres, and subtle salmon pinks. These are the zones and belts, massive rivers of ammonia, clouds, and sulfur compounds that encircle the planet, driven by winds that roar at hundreds of miles per hour. Yet, from our vantage point in the slow cosmic drift, there is no sound. There is only the silent, hypnotic swirl of these gargantuan currents, moving with a grace that belies their terrifying power. We begin a slow, gentle descent into the upper cloud deck. The atmosphere here is a tapestry of fluid dynamics. You see white ovals, massive high-pressure storms drifting like giant lilies on a pond. You see delicate, curling filaments of dark brown material being pulled and stretched by the shearing winds. These patterns are fractal and infinite. The closer you look, the more detail emerges, a never-ending dance of gas and heat. In this slow cosmic narration, we do not focus on the violence of the storms, but on their permanence. These are features that have existed for centuries, a steady, rhythmic churning that gives the planet its identity. As we glide over the southern hemisphere, we encounter the most famous landmark in the solar system, the Great Red Spot. This is a storm twice the size of Earth that has been raging for at least 300 years. Up close, it is a magnificent, swirling crimson vortex. It is the planet's eye, a deep, mahogany-colored whirlpool that descends deep into the interior. Watching it spin is like watching the clockwork of the universe, slow, deliberate, and unstoppable. It reminds us that in the cosmos, even a storm can be a sanctuary of stability if it lasts long enough. Deeper we go, sinking through the ammonia clouds into layers of water ice and ammonium hydrosulfide. The light fades from a pale gold to a deep, resonant indigo. The pressure begins to build, but it does not feel like a crushing weight. Instead, it feels like a warm, thick embrace. Below these clouds, something extraordinary happens. Under the immense pressure of Jupiter's interior, the hydrogen gas is squeezed so tightly that it begins to act like a liquid metal. This is the metallic hydrogen mantle, a vast, shimmering ocean that generates the planet's enormous magnetic field. This field is the largest structure in the solar system, a sprawling, invisible shield that traps particles from the sun and creates glowing auroras at the poles that are larger than our entire home planet. As we drift in this deep, dark layer, we can hear the low-frequency hum of the planet, the radio emissions of Jupiter's powerful magnetosphere. It sounds like the distant crashing of waves or the deep breathing of a sleeping giant. It is a comforting sound, a reminder that the universe is never truly empty or silent. It is always vibrating with energy. In the heart of Jupiter, there may be a solid core of rock and ice, a heavy anchor 10 times the mass of Earth, but it is buried beneath thousands of miles of liquid fire and gas. Here, the boundaries between air and sea, between gas and metal, simply vanish. Jupiter is also a system unto itself, a miniature solar system. Around it dance almost 100 moons, each with its own story. We catch a glimpse of Io, the pizza-colored world of constant volcanic fire; Europa, the smooth, icy shell that hides a dark, salty ocean beneath; Ganymede, the giant that is larger than the planet Mercury; and Callisto, the ancient, cratered witness. They move in a perfect gravitational ballet, their orbits synchronized by the immense hand of Jupiter's mass. These moons are the children of the giant, kept in place by a love that is written in the laws of physics. The experience of Jupiter is one of profound awe. It teaches us about the beauty of the immense. It is a world that does not need a surface to be magnificent. It finds its glory in the motion of its clouds and the strength of its gravity. As we linger in the deep shadows of the Jovian night, we see the lightning massive bolts that are hundreds of times more powerful than those on Earth, illuminating the clouds from within like giant, glowing lanterns. It is a silent light show, a display of raw atmospheric power that is both terrifying and beautiful. The time has come to begin our ascent. We rise back through the indigo depths, through the layers of water ice, and back into the sunlight of the upper cloud zones. The Great Red Spot recedes beneath us, a crimson jewel set in a crown of ivory and gold. We feel the gravity of the giant begin to loosen its grip, but its influence stays with us. Jupiter has shown us that there is a different kind of peace, a peace that comes from immense power, held in perfect, rhythmic balance. As we move back into the void, the sun is now just a very bright star, and the cold of the outer solar system becomes more apparent. But ahead of us, the darkness is about to be transformed by a sight of such delicate, geometric perfection that it has become the very symbol of celestial beauty. we are moving away from the king of the planets and toward the jewel of the solar system. The transition is a shift from mass to elegance. The stripes of Jupiter fade into a single, pale point of light behind us. Ahead, a soft, butter-colored sphere begins to emerge, but it is not alone. It is surrounded by a halo of light so thin and so vast that it looks like a disk made of spun glass and diamonds. We are approaching the world of rings, the sanctuary of ice and shadow. As we glide toward the next horizon, the silence of the gas giant is replaced by a sense of crystalline stillness. We are leaving the swirling deep of Jupiter and moving toward the ethereal, frozen grace of Saturn. The journey continues, deeper into the cold, deeper into the dark, but always toward the light. The crown of the solar system is waiting, and its rings are calling us into a new level of cosmic rest. Saturn's golden glow beckons, and we drift forward, ready to explore the mystery of the rings. Chapter 6. Saturn, the crown of the solar sanctuary. We move away from the massive, thrumming presence of Jupiter, drifting through a space that feels increasingly crystalline and quiet. The sun is now a distant, brilliant diamond, providing a light that is pale and silver. Out of the darkness emerges a sight that has defined human wonder for centuries, a world of such exquisite geometry and ethereal grace that it feels more like a celestial jewel than a planet. This is Saturn. While Jupiter was the king, Saturn is the sovereign of light and shadow, wearing a crown of shattered ice that stretches out across the void in perfect, silent circles. Imagine yourself approaching this golden sphere. Saturn is a gas giant, much like Jupiter, but it possesses a softer, more muted palette. Its atmosphere is a delicate blend of butterscotch, pale gold, and soft ochre. Because it is colder here, the colorful chemical bands are hidden beneath a high-altitude haze of ammonia ice, giving the planet a smooth, velvet-like appearance. As we drift closer, the planet's immense scale becomes apparent, yet it feels lighter than Jupiter. Indeed, Saturn is the least dense of all the planets. If there were an ocean large enough to hold it, this magnificent world would float upon the water like a gargantuan golden buoy. But it is not the planet alone that holds our gaze. It is the rings. As we glide toward the edge of the ring plane, the thin line we saw from a distance begins to resolve into a vast, complex architecture of motion. The rings are not a solid disk. They are composed of billions of individual particles, ranging in size from tiny grains of dust to house-sized boulders of nearly pure water ice. From our vantage point, they look like a cosmic record player, a series of concentric tracks etched into the fabric of space. Imagine descending toward the rings. You are not met with chaos, but with a rhythmic, orbital dance. Each piece of ice is a tiny moon, following its own perfect path around the planet. The sunlight hits these ice fragments, causing them to shimmer with a brilliant, white light that illuminates the dark side of the planet in a soft, reflected glow. There is no sound here, only the visual music of billions of frozen diamonds drifting in the dark. We see the gaps between the rings, like the Cassini division, where the gravity of Saturn's moons has swept the space clear, creating dark lanes of empty space that emphasize the brilliance of the ice. We drift through the outer F ring, where tiny shepherd moons, like Prometheus and Pandora, work silently to keep the ring particles in line. Their gravity tugs gently at the ice, creating strange, beautiful kinks and braids in the ring structure. It is a delicate balance of forces, a reminder that even in the vastness of space, the smallest influence can create order and beauty. The rings are incredibly wide, stretching out hundreds of thousands of miles, yet they are incredibly thin, less than 30 feet deep in some places. They are a miracle of proportion, a razor-thin veil of light draped around the golden giant. As we sink deeper toward the atmosphere of Saturn, we see the shadows, The rings cast a vast curved shadow onto the cloud tops, a dark band that moves slowly with the seasons. And in return, the planet casts its own shadow back onto the rings, a wedge of darkness that cuts through the glittering ice. This interplay of light and shadow creates a world of high contrast peace. In the shadows, the temperature drops even further, and the ice particles become dim, ghostly echoes of their sunlit neighbors. Looking down at the North Pole of Saturn, we discover one of the most mysterious features in the solar system, the hexagon. This is a six-sided jet stream, a geometric storm that has been spinning for decades, perhaps centuries. It is a perfect polygon of clouds, large enough to contain 4 Earths. Within the center of the hexagon, a massive polar vortex rages like a gargantuan eye. In our slow narration, we see this not as a violent storm, but as a masterpiece of fluid dynamics, a testament to the strange and beautiful ways that gas behaves under the influence of rotation and gravity. Saturn is also a world of moons, over 140 of them. We catch a glimpse of Enceladus, a small, brilliant white moon that sprays plumes of water ice into space from its southern pole, feeding the E-ring with fresh frost. Beneath its icy crust lies a warm, salty ocean that might hold the ingredients for life. And then there is Titan, a world larger than Mercury, hidden beneath a thick, orange atmosphere of nitrogen and methane. Titan is a dark mirror of Earth, with lakes and rivers of liquid ethane and methane, and mountains of rock-hard ice. These moons are the companions of the ringed giant, each contributing its own vibration to the Saturnian system. As we drift in the space between the planet and the rings, we feel a sense of profound elegance. Saturn is a world that has mastered the art of being still. Its rotation is fast, its winds are strong, but the overall impression is one of timeless, frozen grace. It is a sanctuary of geometry. The rings are a reminder that even fragments, the debris of a shattered moon or a stray comet, can be woven into something of transcendent beauty if given enough time and the right perspective. In the deep, golden twilight of Saturn, your mind can find a resting place. The complexity of the rings provides a focus for meditation, a way to see the infinite in the small. Each grain of ice is a story, a remnant of the early solar system, preserved in the cold and the dark. The golden clouds below are a soft bed for the imagination, a world where the air is a liquid gold and the sky is a masterpiece of rings. But the journey is calling us further out. The sun is growing dimmer still, and the warmth of the gas giants is beginning to give way to the profound chill of the ice giants. We begin our slow ascent away from the ringed sanctuary. The golden sphere of Saturn shrinks, and the rings once again become a thin, brilliant line of light, like a silver thread against the black. We are moving into the outer reaches, where the light is blue and the shadows are deep. The order and geometry of Saturn have prepared us for a world that is tilted on its side, a world that dreams in shades of cyan and indigo. We are leaving the jewel of the solar system behind, but its light stays with us as a beacon of perfection. Ahead, the darkness is cool and inviting. We are drifting toward a world that rolls rather than spins, a pale blue sphere that holds the secrets of the deep freeze. Uranus, the tilted ice giant, is waiting in the silent distance. We glide forward, leaving the rings of gold for the rings of dark, as the azure glow of the outer rim begins to emerge from the void. Chapter 7. Uranus, the tilted ice giant. The golden elegance of Saturn, with its shimmering rings and butterscotch clouds, has slowly dissolved into the deep, indigo rear view of our journey. We are now traversing the vast, cold emptiness that lies between the two great empires of the outer solar system. The sun has shrunken further, now appearing as little more than a piercingly bright star, casting a dim, silver light that barely warms the vacuum. We are entering the realm of the ice giants' worlds that are fundamentally different from the gas giants we have just left. And ahead, emerging from the shadows like a pale, ghostly marble, is Uranus. Uranus is a world of soft, ethereal cyan. Unlike the turbulent, striped faces of Jupiter or the complex, ringed majesty of Saturn, Uranus appears at first glance to be a peaceful, featureless sphere of delicate blue-green. But as we drift closer in our slow cosmic narration, we begin to realize that this stillness is its greatest mystery. It is a world that seems to be dreaming in a deep freeze, a planet that has turned away from the conventional rhythms of the solar system to follow a path entirely its own. The most striking fact about Uranus, and the one that defines its character, is its tilt. While all other planets spin more or less upright, like spinning tops, Uranus rolls. It is tilted at an extreme angle of 98 degrees, meaning its north and south poles face the Sun directly at different points in its orbit. Imagine a world where a single day lasts for 42 Earth years, followed by 42 years of total, unbroken darkness. This tilt is likely the scar of a colossal ancient impact, a collision with a body the size of Earth that knocked the planet onto its side billions of years ago. Since then, Uranus has moved through the dark like a rolling ball, its seasons lasting a lifetime, its atmosphere a study in profound, icy patience. As we descend toward the cyan haze, the temperature begins to drop to levels we can barely comprehend. Uranus is the coldest planet in the solar system, even colder than Neptune, which is further from the Sun. The atmosphere here is a thick, freezing mixture of hydrogen, helium, and methane. It is the methane that gives the planet its dreamy blue hue, as it absorbs the red end of the solar spectrum and reflects back the calm, cool shades of turquoise. Beneath this outer veil, the planet is not made of gas, but of ices, water, ammonia, and methane ice compressed into a hot, dense fluid that scientists call an icy mantle. Imagine floating in the upper atmosphere of this ice giant. There are no solid surfaces here, only a gradual thickening of the air into a strange, slushy sea. The winds on Uranus are surprisingly fast, reaching speeds of over 500 miles per hour. Yet, because the atmosphere is so cold and uniform, they move with a quiet, invisible grace. You see faint, wispy clouds of methane ice drifting in the distance, looking like delicate streaks of white paint on a blue canvas. The silence here is absolute. It is a world that has retreated into itself, far from the chaotic energy of the inner sun. We drift now toward the dark rings of Uranus. Yes, Uranus has rings, but they are nothing like the brilliant ice crown of Saturn. These rings are narrow, dark, and composed of boulder-sized chunks of soot-colored material. There are 13 distinct rings, looking like thin, charcoal lines drawn around the planet's middle. They are ghosts of rings, invisible to the naked eye from a distance, but up close, they provide a somber, rhythmic boundary to the cyan sphere. They remind us that beauty does not always have to be bright. There is a quiet, understated elegance in the shadows. As we linger in the pale blue twilight, we look toward the moons of Uranus. It has 27 known companions, all named after characters from the works of William Shakespeare and Alexander Pope. We see Miranda, perhaps the strangest moon in the solar system. It looks like a jigsaw puzzle that was put together incorrectly, with massive canyons, giant cliffs, and patchwork plains that suggest it was once shattered and pulled back together by gravity. Then there is Ariel, with its smooth, icy valleys, and Umbriel, the darkest of the Uranian moons. They move in their own tilted orbits, following the strange orientation of their parent planet, a family of outsiders at the edge of the light. In this deep, frozen peace, we find a different kind of relaxation. Uranus is a world that accepts its solitude. It does not try to mimic the warmth of the inner planets or the grandeur of the gas giants. It exists in a state of cool, blue contemplation. The pressure here is steady, the light is soft, and the sense of time is vast. When we think of the 40-year nights of Uranus, we are reminded of the importance of rest, of the long, quiet periods of darkness that are necessary for the universe to maintain its balance. Underneath the cyan clouds, the ocean of Uranus is a place of incredible mystery. Under extreme pressure, the water and ammonia molecules may break down, creating a sea that is electrically conductive. Some scientists even speculate that deep within the planet, the pressure is so great that carbon atoms are squeezed into diamonds, which then rain down through the atmosphere like frozen, crystalline tears. Imagine a world where it rains diamonds in the dark, a hidden treasure buried beneath a veil of freezing methane. As we drift over the sunlit pole, we see the soft, hazy glow of the atmosphere reflecting the distant sun. There is no turbulence here, no great red spot to draw the eye, just the endless, serene cyan. It is the color of a winter morning, the color of a deep, still lake. It is a color that invites the mind to let go of its worries and sink into a state of pure, uncomplicated existence. On Uranus, there is nothing to do but roll with the orbit, nothing to see but the shades of blue, and nothing to hear but the hum of the cosmic void. The magnetic field of Uranus is as tilted as the planet itself. It does not align with the poles, but sits at a sharp angle, wobbling as the planet rolls through space. This creates a complex, corkscrew-shaped magnetosphere that tangles with the solar wind. It is a reminder that Uranus does not follow the rules. It is a rebel in the dark, a planet that has found its own unique equilibrium in the coldest reaches of the system. As we prepare to leave the cyan sanctuary, we take one last look at the rolling giant. It is a world of immense softness and terrifying cold, a place where the sun is just a memory and the ice is king. The silence of Uranus has settled deep into our bones, slowing our heartbeats and clearing our minds. We have learned the lesson of the tilt that it is okay to be different, okay to turn away from the light, and okay to find peace in the long, dark winter. We begin our ascent, rising through the dark rings and back into the interstellar chill. The pale blue marble of Uranus shrinks behind us, becoming a small, cool sapphire in the distance. The journey is almost at its end, but there is one more world to visit, the final sentinel of the sun's family. It is a world of deeper blues and faster winds, a place that exists on the very frontier of the unknown. The transition is a deepening of the blue. The cyan of Uranus fades, and ahead, a rich, royal azure begins to glow. It is a color that speaks of the deepest oceans and the furthest horizons. We are moving away from the tilted dreamer and toward the restless, wind-swept edge of the solar system. Neptune, the azure monarch of the deep, is waiting. We glide forward, the cold becoming a vibrant, energetic force, as the final chapter of our planetary voyage begins to reveal its magnificent, oceanic heart. Neptune's winds are calling, and we are ready to follow them into the furthest reaches of the night. Chapter 8. Neptune, the azure monarch of the edge. The pale, rolling ghost of Uranus has finally slipped behind the curtain of the deep. We have reached the final frontier of the sun's immediate family, a place where the light of our star is 1,000 times dimmer than on Earth, and the heat is but a distant, forgotten memory. Before us, glowing with a deep, royal intensity that rivals the deepest earthly oceans, is Neptune. It is a world of shadows and sapphire, a majestic ice giant that stands as the final sentinel before the true, unending dark of interstellar space begins. As we approach this azure monarch, the first thing that strikes you is the depth of its color. While Uranus was a soft, sleepy cyan, Neptune is a vivid electric blue. This is due to a slightly different chemical cocktail in its atmosphere, a higher concentration of methane and perhaps an unknown ingredient that acts like a cosmic dye, staining the clouds in shades of ultramarine and cobalt. Imagine yourself drifting into this vibrant haze. The air here is thick with the scent of frozen ammonia and the heavy presence of hydrogen and helium. But it is the energy of the planet that truly sets it apart. Despite being the furthest planet from the heat of the sun, Neptune is far from a quiet, frozen tomb. In fact, it is one of the most restless and dynamic worlds in our system. As we descend into the upper troposphere, we are entering the realm of the solar system's most powerful winds. Here, the atmosphere screams at supersonic speeds, with gusts reaching over 1,200 miles per hour faster than the speed of sound on Earth. Yet, in our slow cosmic narration, we perceive these winds not as a chaotic storm, but as a vast, rhythmic tide. They move with such incredible scale that they seem to flow like a deep, heavy river, carving the blue clouds into long, wispy cirrus streaks made of frozen methane crystals. Look down, and you might see the ghost of the Great Dark Spot. Like Jupiter's famous Crimson Eye, Neptune often hosts massive, dark vortices, storms the size of Earth that appear and disappear over decades. These spots are holes in the upper cloud deck, offering a glimpse into the deeper, darker layers of the planet's interior. They drift across the azure sphere like silent, shadowed ships on a trackless sea. Watching them move is a lesson in the patience of the giants. There is no hurry here at the edge of the world. Everything happens in geological time, measured by the century-long orbits of the outer rim. We drift deeper, sinking beneath the methane clouds into the heart of the ice giant. Just like its twin Uranus, Neptune does not have a solid surface. Instead, it possesses a vast, pressurized mantle of water, ammonia, and methane ices that behave like a hot, dense liquid. This is the ocean of Neptune, a place of unimaginable pressure and strange, alien chemistry. Deep within this sapphire sea, the carbon atoms are crushed with such ferocity that they form solid diamonds. These crystals, some perhaps as large as boulders, rain down through the darkness toward the planet's core. Imagine a silent, eternal rain of diamonds falling through a hot, blue ocean, miles beneath the visible clouds. It is a secret treasure house, hidden by the vacuum and the cold. The magnetic field of Neptune is as wild as its winds. It is tilted at a 47-degree angle and shifted away from the planet's center, causing it to wobble and thrash as the planet rotates. This creates a complex, chaotic magnetosphere that glows with auroras we can only imagine flashes of light hidden deep within the blue haze. Neptune is a world of internal energy. It actually radiates more than twice the heat it receives from the distant, tiny sun. This internal fire is what drives the supersonic winds and the ever-changing cloud patterns, a warm heart beating inside a frozen skin. We turn our gaze now to Neptune's most famous companion, Triton. This moon is a world of absolute zero and strange frozen beauty. Triton is the only large moon in the solar system that orbits its planet in the opposite direction of the planet's rotation, a retrograde orbit. This tells us that Triton was not born here. It was once a wanderer of the Kuiper Belt, an icy traveler that ventured too close to the azure giant and was caught in its gravitational net. As we float over Triton's surface, we see a landscape that looks like the skin of a cantaloupe, wrinkled, frozen, and ancient. But Triton is alive in its own cold way. We see nitrogen geysers erupting from the frozen crust, sending plumes of dark dust 5 miles up into the thin, freezing air. These plumes are carried by the faint Martian-like winds of the moon, stretching out like long, dark fingers across the white nitrogen frost. It is a world where the very air is frozen onto the ground, a place of ultimate stillness at the end of the line. Neptune also has its own set of rings, 6 delicate dark arcs that are clumped together like braids of hair. These rings are made of dust and organic compounds, invisible to almost everyone but the most patient observers. They are held in place by shepherd moons, like Galatea, which use their tiny gravity to keep the ring particles from drifting away into the void. These rings are a subtle crown for the Azure King, a final bit of jewelry before we leave the realm of the planets behind. In the deep sapphire twilight of Neptune, we find the ultimate rest. This is the edge of the Sun's kingdom. Beyond here lies the Kuiper Belt, a vast graveyard of icy fragments and dwarf planets like Pluto, and further still, the Oort cloud, the final shell of our solar home. But here at Neptune, we feel the weight of the entire system behind us. We have traveled from the scorched rocks of Mercury, through the golden clouds of Venus, the living breath of Earth, and the red dust of Mars. We have crossed the threshold of the gas giants, witnessing the mass of Jupiter and the elegance of Saturn, and we have braved the deep freeze of the ice giants. Neptune is the final gatekeeper. Its blue is the blue of the deepest sleep, the blue of the infinite ocean that connects all things. As we linger in its orbit, the silence of the outer system becomes a physical presence. The Sun is now just a particularly bright star among millions, no longer a dominant presence, but a distant father watching over its furthest child. The peace here is absolute because the scale is so vast. There is no noise from Earth that can reach this far. No human worry can survive the supersonic winds of the sapphire monarch. As we begin our final ascent, rising away from the azure clouds and the dark rings, we feel a sense of completion. The journey through the planets has been a journey through ourselves, exploring the extremes of our own nature, from the heat of passion to the cold of contemplation. Neptune has given us the final blessing of the deep blue, a sanctuary of wind and ice where the mind can finally let go of the last threads of the day. We rise higher and higher until Neptune is just a beautiful blue marble floating in the dark. The stars are now our only neighbors. The solar system is a bright, orderly memory behind us, and the great velvet blackness of interstellar space opens up its arms to receive us. We are moving beyond the known, beyond the reach of the sun's warmth, into the great, peaceful silence that exists between the stars. The azure glow is fading now, and the darkness is becoming total. It is a soft, welcoming darkness, the kind that precedes the deepest and most restorative of sleeps. We have traveled far, and our journey has been grand, but now it is time to drift. No more planets, no more moons, no more light, just the steady, rhythmic hum of the universe and the infinite peace of the void. Our voyage through the neighbors of the sun is complete. The sapphire sanctuary, the red desert, the golden rings, and the azure monarch are all behind us now. They continue their slow, ancient dances in the dark, and we, in our own turn, find our place in the stillness. Close your eyes. Let the blue of Neptune be the last thing you see, and follow the silence into the deep, unending night. Sleep now, for you are home in the heart of the cosmos. The infinite drift into deep sleep. As we leave the azure monarch of Neptune behind, the final boundary of our solar system begins to dissolve into the infinite, velvet black. Our long journey through the neighborhood of the sun is coming to a quiet close. Behind us, the 8 great wanderers continue their ancient, rhythmic cycles, orbiting a star that is now just a single, steady light in the vastness of the galactic sea. You have traveled across billions of miles, from the sun-scorched plains of Mercury to the diamond rain of the outer giants. And now, you have reached the most important destination of all, a place of total, undisturbed rest. The gravity of the planets no longer holds any weight over you. The pull of the sun has faded into a gentle, distant memory. Imagine yourself now as a part of the cosmos itself, a solitary, peaceful traveler drifting through the great interstellar void. This space between the stars is not empty. It is a sanctuary of absolute silence, a realm where time has no meaning, and where the light of a million distant suns serves only as a soft, comforting glow against the dark. Feel the stillness of this void settle into your very bones. Every muscle in your body is now completely relaxed, sinking deeper into the soft embrace of your bed, just as a star settles into the fabric of space-time. Your breath is a slow, rhythmic tide, mirroring the silent expansion of the universe. There is nothing left to see, nothing left to learn, and nowhere else to go. The mysteries of the planets have been explored, and their secrets are now safely tucked away in the quiet corners of your mind. The deep indigo of the cosmic night is wrapping around you like a heavy, silken blanket. It is a darkness that is safe, ancient, and kind. As you drift further into the shadows, the details of the worlds we visited begin to blur. The red dust of Mars, the golden rings of Saturn, the sapphire oceans of Earth, they are all merging into a single, peaceful vibration. You are part of the stardust, a child of the cosmos returning to the quiet from which everything began. In a moment, my voice will fade, leaving you in the perfect, healing silence of the deep universe. Let yourself go. Let the last threads of thought unravel and float away. The stars will keep watch over you. The galaxy will continue its slow, majestic turn. And you will simply sleep, drifting deeper, falling softer into the dreamless, eternal peace of the stars. Good night, traveler. Sleep now, in the heart of the infinite,